That's 100.
All right, good evening, everyone. Hopefully, everybody's feeling good tonight. Definitely excited to be here. Feels good to be back. It was a great birthday week for me last week, so I was excited about that. I turned 24, so I'm excited to be back. And man, a lot of things have happened and transpired in the market. I feel like over the past 2 weeks, we've seen a few earnings reports. We have some big ones that are coming up, Tesla and Netflix, that I'm excited for. But man, good evening. All I ask you guys to do is just share this YouTube live with 2 to 3 people right now, 2 to 3 of your closest friends, closest family members, and we're gonna get this party started. So tonight's topic, we're taking it into the biggest struggles of a trader, right? So the biggest struggles of a trader. And I would say that I think one of the biggest struggles that traders have just right off the bat, and some of you guys may agree with me, I think it's discipline. The number one struggle that I think most traders struggle with, everyone struggles with discipline. And it's in discipline in, different formats, right? Whether it's, how much you actually should be trading, how many trades you've actually taken, um, being greedy. Like it's so many different forms of discipline when it comes to trading. And when it's not checked properly, it can become destructive. So for me, like, I feel like I said, one of the biggest things is you ultimately have to be disciplined, right? Like that's going to be your probably the number one thing that most people, like I said, are going to struggle with is the discipline aspect. For me, I look at trading, really just two things, right? Um, my biggest problem that I had to overcome was like the over trading. Sometimes looking at the markets too much. A lot of times I see people sit at the computer or sitting around looking for trades all day, every single day, from 9 a.m. even before 9 a.m., 8 a.m. because you're doing your pre-market 7 a.m. all the way to like 4. And I think that's really a bad habit to really have. Um, is to just consistently be, over trading. So that's one of the biggest struggles that I feel like a lot of traders have. And number two, I think is confidence, right? Number two struggle that I think a lot of people deal with is issues when it comes to confidence in trading, right? How confident are you that your trade is actually going to play out? I think that's one of the biggest struggles that we have, and we second guess ourselves sometimes. A lot of times we have the thesis all written out, right? The thesis is perfect. We have our plan, and it's just about sticking to it. Sometimes we may see something that makes us, oh, we're about to switch. Oh man, I saw this, so now I'm switching from being bullish to bearish when the whole time you should have just stayed bullish. I think a lot of times is not trusting your gut. As a trader, I think that's one of the biggest struggles that you have. And then let's get into some of the struggles like this year. This year has been even the past 2 years, right? Even 2022. It's been really like a slow, like even when the market was pulling back, it was dropping really slow, right? Like the market was dropping slow, right? It wasn't dropping super fast in certain areas. It was in the growth part of the market, but it was kind of a choppy churn down. Whereas like this year, we got off to like I want to say the first 6 months of the year was just pretty much just fast coast to the upside. And then around like month 7, things started to kind of stall. Now we're here in month 10, month 7, 8, as month 7, 8, 9, and 10 have kind of just been a little bit slower. They've been really a little bit choppy. So we haven't really seen, what I would call the spurtability type growth, right? I feel like spurtability is really probably one of the best words to use. You haven't seen just that spurt, right? You haven't seen the gas just been able to been pressed and it's just like go time. So it's been really, like I said, it's been really a lot slower over the past 3 months. And during that time period, one of the things psychologically that I feel like from a struggle standpoint is as a trader, we get so used to like, yo, that first 6 months of the year, everything was flying sky high. There was trades galore. There was a you could put an option on this, put an option on that, make money on this, make money on that. And we sometimes forget to check our environment. Like, okay, we have to ask ourselves as a trader, what conditions is the market actually in right now? Like that's an important question that you should be asking anytime you're looking to place a trade, whether it's a day trade, a swing trade, is what conditions is the market in, right? And not just simple conditions, right? Is it bullish or bearish? That's simple, right? But what is earnings season here? Or is earnings season not happening? Right? Is there a current catalyst on the market that's moving the market, right? From maybe a government standpoint, a Federal Reserve standpoint, right? Is there something, some key catalyst that the market is looking for, right? It's examining those things, right? Because, like I said, the first 6 months of the year, the market was on fire. You could be on calls on just about, anything, and the thing was shooting up. But then over the past few months, things have kind of stalled. You're seeing some of the growth stocks, they started to get hammered again. Things have kind of stalled out. And it's just about knowing where you should be looking to take some of the bigger opportunities at. And right now we see a lot of sideways action, right? You're not necessarily seeing Nvidia break out above 500 yet, right? You're not seeing Tesla smash through that 300. I'm just giving you a few examples, right? But in the beginning part of the year, Nvidia, man, I mean, it had like weeks where it was going without red days, right? Where it was like every single day. So that's one of the things we have a struggle is we do as a trader. Sometimes we psychologically condition ourselves to think that some of those great times in the market are gonna always be here, right? Where right you could be where it's gonna be those periods and those gaps where you might get a nice 3 to 4 6 month run, but then there's gonna be some times like this, right? Where, like I said, over the past 3 months, it's been sideways action, right? It's been really sideways. Price has been moving sideways. We haven't been, moving to the upside on a lot of names. So that's been, like I said, really where the market's been at. So that's where we come into the struggle part is like, we're thinking, yo, I have to place trades. One of the other biggest struggles that I see is like people think they have to trade every single day. Yo, what's the play today? What's the move today? What's the trade today? Right? And that's not really the mentality that you, I'll be honest with you, that's not really the mentality that you want to have with this thing. Right? It's not, okay, what's the play today? What's the move today? Like that's not how the market works. You don't want to always be looking for a play. There's going to be some weeks where there's a lot of trades to probably take, right? Where maybe you're going to take 10, 15, 20 trades, right? Maybe it could, there's going to be some weeks like that where there's just opportunity. But most weeks, I would say this, honestly, you could find yourself anywhere in between 3 to 7 trades a week. I think you're good, right? 3 to 7 solid trades a week, right? And sometimes it could be less. Sometimes it could just be that one trade you just hit and you just move out the way, right? Because you don't want to be at this thing, like I said, and that goes back to the over trading, right? Looking for those opportunities 24/7, right? It's okay to give the market a break. I think that's a struggle that we have, especially like when you make money off the stock market, right? Trading, even investing, it's kind of like you get a little bit spoiled, especially in the beginning, right? I remember as a beginner trader, like I remember sitting in my college classroom and me cracking open my laptop, making $400, $500, $600 within an hour time frame, right? And you kind of like that. You can't really do too many things that make you that much money, right? There's not really much of anything that I can really think of where it's like, yo, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna make $600 an hour, right? There's a few things out there, but when you think about it, the stock market is one of those places, right? And so if you can crack open a laptop, a phone, an iPad, and you make $600 in an hour, you kind of get the feeling like, this is, you kind of feel like, man, it's really liberating. So it's that feeling of like, yo, I want more. The taste, you want more of it. And it's kind of, to be honest with you, it is a drug, right? And it's an adrenaline drug, right? Where you feel it and you like, man, if I did this once, I could do this again. And I think a lot, like I said, I think a lot of times people look at that and they're like, yo, I need more. I need more. And I think that's one of the most dangerous things that honestly, like I said, anybody could do to themselves is put themselves in that position of thinking that they have to, like I said, they have to overtrade. Like you don't want to be putting yourself in a position where you're over trading, where you're thinking you got to do this, you got to do that. I always tell people it's okay to take, breaks when it comes to trading, and it's okay to give yourself some time and some space away from the market. One of the things that I feel like has helped me is finding those outside things outside the market to gravitate to and to latch onto to do. So you're not caught at the computer 24/7, right? Looking for trades. I remember there's a lot of times where I remember when I first started trading, I would start off my day profitable, but because I stayed at the desk looking for more trades, that profitable day, that plus 700, plus 1,000 would turn into minus 300, minus 600 P&L on a day from just over trading, right? And I think also having the approach that you never have it all figured out. It's okay to come into the market saying, you know what, today's 0-0 and I'm just looking for new opportunities, right? And I'm not gonna like I think sometimes people always think they have things figured out, but it's and the one thing I realized about the market, and that's one thing that I really like is you never know everything. So every single day you have the opportunity to learn something different. So I think being open to new things is something that can benefit people in the market, right? Not being closed-minded. Because if you're a closed-minded individual, it becomes hard in the stock market, right? Because in the stock market, you do have to be optimistic, especially if you're an investor. Because the reason why you have to be optimistic is there's going to be certain times that you might be investing in a company that might not be doing as well as you may want it to be at that moment in time. But you have to be optimistic that further in the future that there's going to be more opportunities down the line. So I think that's another thing. Controlling your emotions, and keeping things objective. Um, that's one of the things, like I said, that I think traders struggle with the most. And I think also as well is chasing gains, right? Everyone's chasing this gain, right? Where everyone wants to make 10,000 in a day, 20,000 a day, but realistically, it's a lot better if you just slow and steady on pace wins the race, right? Slow and steady on pace wins the race. And I think one of the things traders struggle with is comparing themselves to other people, where they're like, yo, this trader made this trader made that. I think it's super important to stay laser focused uh, on you, right? Like you don't have to chase what somebody else did. You shouldn't be looking over, yo, what you eating over there? You shouldn't be looking over there and saying, yo, what you eating over there? Like focus on what's in front of you. Anytime I'm not worried about what other people are doing. I'm worried about what works for me, what strategies work for me, what things that I can be successful in. And if someone else is successful at something else, that's what they're good at. You know what I'm saying? I can't be like I said, I can't be worried about things that, like I said, that I can't control. Right? I cannot be worried about things that I cannot control. I think, like I said, that's super, super, super duper important for me to say. Once again, I think a lot of times people get caught in to looking over their shoulder a little bit too much, comparing themselves to others, and it puts you in a position, like I said, where you're not not to benefit from yourself. So comparing yourselves to others, I think, is a chronicle mistake, um, a huge mistake that a lot of people make, and it honestly puts them behind a lot of times comparing yourself to others. So I try to stay away from that as much as possible, right? I don't want to be looking at this person's plate. I want to focus on what I can control and what I'm good at. So that goes back to my next point: struggles. Like, what's the biggest thing struggling wise, not just for traders, but also for investors. Investors, the biggest thing they struggle with is patience. Patience, patience, patience. A lot of times I talk to people, you guys hear me on here. When I speak about things, I'm speaking about things 2030, 2035. Like I'm not, I could care less as an investor about what's happening today, right? Because today doesn't make me money in the future. It just doesn't. So for me, I have to be focused on what's happening in the future. And I think, like I said, I think a lot of times we get discouraged, and we're like I said, we're not always looking at what's happening over a period of time. We're worried about what's happening. Like I said, we're worried about what's happening tomorrow, right, or today, right. And I think that's a mistake that definitely can be made, and it's something like I said that you want to be careful of. You want to be super, super, super duper careful of to not make that mistake. Patience, patience, patience. When you take a look at the companies, like I want everyone to look back even 5 years ago. Some of these companies that we're thinking about investing in right now. And I want you to just pull up their returns. Some of these companies are going to tell you 200%. Some of these companies are going to tell you 500%. Some of these companies are going to tell you 40. Some of these companies may tell you 1,000. The point that I'm making to you is right now is you want to understand that you investing today is for the future. You investing today is for the future, right? It's not just for today. So patience, 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 patience is one of the biggest struggles I believe for a trader, right? And for an investor, right? Ivan just said trading is addicting. It is. And that's why I tell so many people sometimes, take a break from the market. I've learned it the hard way, right? I've learned it the hard way. You have to be able to step away. Like I said, those days of being positive and then going negative, they happen from not being patient enough to just wait for your next opportunity. You're 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 focused on, not what's happening right now. You're focused on, I want to make this money. I want to make this money. I'm gonna make this money. But the market is not setting you up for a position right now. But all you can look at is the dollar sign. I think one of the things is, people are chasing dollar signs and not setups, right? They're looking at dollar signs and they're not looking at the actual setups. That's a major mistake that I think a lot of people make, is looking at the dollar signs, but not paying attention to the setups. Like I said, you want to pay attention to the setups. You absolutely want to pay attention to the setups. Don't chase those dollar signs. That's not where there's no money in chasing those dollar signs. I'll tell you that, 100% of the time. So that's one thing that I think, as you become more experienced, you look at things a little bit differently. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to chase this. This trade is going to come back around. I don't need to get into this trade right now. I'm going to let it swing back around. So like I said, having that patience, I think is one thing that can save a lot of people. That's one of the struggles that I think sometimes we a lot of times all can deal with. We're just like, and it's sometimes frustrating because we're like, we want to invest in this, we want to invest in that, and you just know the time horizon, right? The time horizon. When you talk about 5 years, 10 years, it's hard to explain that to people, right? Especially this, right? If you think about this, right? In this day and age, everything is fast. People's attention spans are, lowest of all time. So you can't even keep people's attention spans for a long period of time. Social media tells you everything is going to come fast, right? People eat fast food. People want fast cars. Fellas, they want fast women. I can keep going, right? Everyone wants accomplishments fast. So when you talk about long, even when you use the word long and then you put term behind it, it's like completely different of anything that most people are doing in life right now. So the concept of long-term investing is becoming harder and harder because most people cannot even think about long term because all that's put in front of you all day is fast, right? Instant, right? Someone just said Instacart, right? Instagram, right? Just pay attention to instant, right? Everyone wants everything instantaneously. No one wants to actually, put the seeds in and watch the seeds actually grow. So that's one of, like I said, those are some of I feel like some of the biggest struggles that traders and investors have here in today's society is trying to, keep those things from the outside forces that may influence you, right? That you're bringing into the market. Those are some of, like I said, the biggest struggles that as a trader you have. Um, I also say the biggest struggle that I see, which I talk about a lot, is weekly options. Weekly options, and that kind of goes to the fast lane. I see a lot of people trading 0 day options, options that expire within 2 days or 3 days within the same week. And it's kind of just like a repeated cycle where a person will, have a brokerage account, they'll load it up and they'll trade those options that expire within the same week and they'll trade it, what I'm saying, over and over and over again. And they kind of do it consistently, consistently. And, you know, it's like if you look at it and you're like, okay, well, why is this person doing this, right? Like, why are they consistently, putting themselves in this position where, they're trading those weekly options? And like I said, it's confusing to me because I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, well, when you're trading those weekly options, you put yourself, like I say, in that situation, in that position where now, you're over leveraging your account and you're just chasing the fast money. And that goes back to the chasing the fast money. I think the biggest struggles is people getting out of that. And that, once again, thinking long term, and not just when I say long term, not just from a long term investment standpoint, but what I'm saying is from this, right? Long term, right? As far as trading on the market, right? We want to be traders on the market consistently. We're not just thinking about trading just for, tomorrow. We're thinking about trading and, for the future, right? So we're not just thinking about tomorrow, right? So I think that's something that, happens is, people are only looking at the market from the standpoint of, yo, I'm just trying to trade for tomorrow, right? I don't really care. And, it's, this is it's definitely a tough one. This is a tough one that I feel like a lot of people deal with. And it's important to speak on because the weekly options game has lost a lot of people a lot of money. And people kind of, I feel like it's a struggle that people have because they look at the options and they say, well, they're so cheap. I can get so many of them, right? They're looking at them from a small eyes view, right? A small eye view, right? And saying, well, it's so cheap. It's so cheap. If I get this, I'll be good. And it really, like I said, it sucks because those options may be cheap, but the way they move, it puts you in a real bind. So I always tell people like those are probably some of the biggest things is trading those weekly options as well. Put people in a bind where, now they're continuing to over leverage their account. They're putting a lot of specific uh, strikes, right? Options that expiring within the next 2-3 days, and it's going against them, right? And it's hurting them. So those are some things that, like I said, I've seen, I've realized, that people have kind of continuously done. Um, and yeah, those are some of probably some of the biggest struggles. The entry, the time decay, and I think if people thought more from a, like I said, a longer term standpoint when it came to those options, they wouldn't probably, like I said, they honestly wouldn't put money on those specific options. So someone said. gave back 1,200 today. It just wasn't enough. I would love to hear a little bit more about that. Definitely. Um, so and I'm gonna ask you guys in the comments, because I know I've discussed the of some, and I pretty much went through the some of the struggles that I've seen and had myself and seen other traders have. Is there any struggles that maybe I hadn't mentioned that you guys want to highlight here? Is there any struggles that maybe I hadn't mentioned that you guys want to highlight? Any struggles that you guys want to mention that potentially I maybe glossed over or did not highlight on here tonight? I would love to hear from you guys tonight with that. Someone said it. Someone said one that honestly, this is a good one. I'm glad someone said it. Someone said, um, it's not the charts. I value myself uh, off trading results. I'm under pressure to make money by a certain time. It's a mess. Ah, I definitely can resonate with that. Um, it takes me back to my college times where I was like, man, I really thought that, you know, I was like, I felt here's one of the things I would say. Like, I felt like I had to make this money to stay in school, right? So you kind of find yourself if you feel like you have to make money by a certain time, you kind of feel like you have to rush to do certain things, right? And so it's that kind of rush that's like, yo, I gotta do it, I gotta do it. So now you feel like, yo, I'm boxed in, I gotta take these trades, right? And you're under that pressure. So you feel that pressure, like, yo, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And you feel that pressure. And it's tough. It's definitely tough. Um, and I fell victim to it a few times where it's like you kind of feel that pressure, like, yo, you gotta produce, you gotta produce. I would say the biggest thing is still trading within your plan, right? Trading within your plan and not rushing the process and not thinking that the trade you're in is going to be your last trade. I've been there before and I've realized that sometimes we're only during that moment when we have all that pressure, we're just thinking about that one trade and we're not thinking about, yo, we got more opportunities that are come. And so that's when you find yourself, chasing those trades and just doing anything and everything. So I always tell people, patience pays and it's okay. So I definitely resonate with that. Someone said bouncing back from taking a loss. Yeah, losses are part of it. I think it's tough when you talk about losses in trading because here's the thing in life kind of like tells you like, yo, if you take a L, it's bad. But in the stock market, a small loss, you getting stopped out on a trade is actually a win. So once again, it's going back to that psychological piece of knowing, hey, when it comes to, you, it's catching a trade, right? It is okay. It is okay to understand that there's going to be another opportunity later down the line. You don't have to overcomplicate something. You don't want to, and you don't want to. You don't want to overcomplicate it. So it's okay. There will be another trade down later down the line that you can have and that you're going to have the opportunity to take, right? You're going to have the opportunity to take. So don't beat yourself up about a missed opportunity right now. Don't beat yourself up about it. So I definitely would say that. So you got people, you got pressure on you, definitely people counting on you. I've been there before. So it's definitely, like I said, important to keep those emotions in those reins in check. So I see some people have, like I said, thank you guys for dropping in some of the things. Um, these were, like I said, some of the biggest struggles as a trader. Some of the things I highlighted was patience. Here today, comparing your trades to others. So we discussed in great detail about some of the things that have held people back. People have struggled with. And one of the things that I can say is like with trading, there's always growth. So every single day you have the opportunity to grow from what you did yesterday. And it is okay to take a loss as a trader. I think so many times people beat themselves up, as taking like a small loss is a win because you can't win 100% of the trades you take. Like, and that's okay. You can't, you can't win, right? You can't win 100% of the trades that you take. Someone said, look at the ES today from 10:30 to 12. That's what I got caught in, nasty chop. And that's one of the things we spoke on, market conditions. That was one of the first things we spoke on today was market conditions, right? The market conditions. You got to understand that, right now, first 6 months of the year, market was like on fire, like Steph Curry. Everything was dropping, right? Every shot that was put up, it was cash money. But now things have slowed down. Someone said most of my losses have come from greedy. We spoke on that, finding those outlets today. For me, that outlet is the gym. I go to the gym on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 2 times a day. I work out like 7 to 8 times every single week. I found it that the gym is one of my main outlets that keeps me distracted, it keeps me away from the market, and it's also beneficial to me, right? So find something that maybe, but for me, like I said, it's the gym. For you, it may be something else. It may be walking. But find something for yourself that can distract you, that can take you away, right? Like get out the house. Even hell, even enjoy some of the gains that you make from the market. I remember like there was I had these gains from the market, but I was never enjoying any of it. Like you only live one time, right? I think one of the biggest struggles that people have is never realizing their gains, right? Like it's good, don't get it twisted. You want a beefed up brokerage account, but you also want to be able to enjoy the work that you've put in to get the account to the point it's at. So I think that's another struggle as we close out the show here is like, yo, make sure you're rewarding yourself in real life. It may be something small, like, for the ladies, maybe getting your hair done, you know, it could be, fellas, maybe getting something from Best Buy that you wanted, some gadget, right? Maybe getting a new TV. Like it for different people, it's gonna look different, right? Everyone has different things that they like, right? So, I definitely tell people, you know, uh, you want to make sure that you enjoy some of the things that uh, you put in that work. You want to enjoy. Someone said that volume and the interest matters. Yep, you got to pay attention to volume. Got to pay attention to volume. So I appreciate everyone who tapped on tonight. I want to say thank you guys for all the birthday wishes that I got from you guys here on the Come Up series. This has been another great episode. I'm looking to tap into a few cities, man, before this year closes out. I know it's getting cold out here, but I definitely want to do some things, give back for the holiday, and I definitely want to come out to a few of these cities, man, and meet with you guys in person. I appreciate everyone who tapped in here today. And make sure you guys follow those outlets, right? Make sure you guys find and follow those outlets to take you away from the desk, right? That's super, 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 super duper important. So this was the episode about the biggest struggles of a trader, right? The biggest struggles of a trader. That's the conversation that we had pretty much here tonight. So I appreciate, like I said, all of you. I want to thank you guys very much for tapping in here with me tonight. I love and appreciate every one of you. So thank you very much. And we have a special guest who wants to say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Say, you had your drink. So he has his drink. Time to put the little champ to bed. It's night time. So I appreciate y'all for tapping in. And peace. I will see you guys next week here on the show. Y'all take care.